So in your 20s, then what did you think, and maybe did at the beginning?
I'm almost did. I'm going to be 30 in like 2 weeks.
What did you think of like 30s and 40s? Like what was your, and maybe 20s too. What do you think 20s were? How'd that change? What do you think of 30s and 40s?
I thought 20s were a rip and roaring time. I was like, this is the best thing ever. I was having so much fun. I was traveling. I was jetting around. Concert. It was like I found my ultimate freedom. I was like, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, anytime, any place. Yeah, I did not feel that. I like cut off all my hair. I was like, whatever I want. I felt like a full-blown adult. I was like, there's no getting older than this, because like 30, I guess I thought 30, 40, all that, it will all be the same, because I didn't really think about like kids-wise, but just me-wise, like I know it all. I was like, yeah, you pay your bills, you set up your automatic transfers, you try to eat healthy, you know, like go to boxing, whatever. I pay my car payments, like.
Okay. You got it figured kind of out, the basics.
I can't remember when this happened. I can't remember my late teens or early 20s, but so first of all, like I said, I was really disappointed because I thought the teens were more fun. I had so much fun as a teenager. It was just such an amazing time. Probably because I had my emotional awakening at 17. So it was just like such an amazing time to me. I just thought it was so freaking fun. And then I was just annoyed at the responsibilities that started to come in the 20s. It's like, I hate this. And oddly enough with freedom, like I think all of you guys have mentioned freedom. For some reason, I'm trying to figure out why. I never felt like I didn't have freedom in one way. Like I always felt like whatever I want to do, I can do it.
Yeah, except for other people are stealing the car.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Which is usually me, honestly.
Probably because I could be like, I need the car.
You have the car.
You had the
That's
power.
why.
But I didn't know that many
places.
places. Oh my gosh. And then it's like, where are you going?
But the car wasn't the biggest freedom thing either, though.
No, once I got the
The
car,
car is a
moved
symbol
out.
of freedom.
Yes.
Well, that wasn't what I was thinking.
I got my car, I moved out, and I was like, I'm going.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking. So it's
like,
interesting. Your guys' perspective is definitely different than mine, which makes sense. I think I was more just like thinking of my goals and things I wanted to do, and I was like, I can achieve these things. I can do them.
See, I never had a vision of it, so then it just started to happen, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And
I
your
can go on a
vision
trip.
was more of like trips and such, which mine was not.
trips
Mine was just
galore.
like
no, I
achieving
didn't have a
things.
vision, and then opportunities came. I want to go on a trip, and I was like, wait, I can
Freedom.
go on a
I'm
trip.
allowed. But I do. Okay, so this is when I think it's my 20s. I can't remember my late teens or 20s. This is when I started to like shape my whole view of the future, and I came up with a positive view. Basically, I thought about a lot of these things when I was a teen. It must have been when I was a teen in early 20s. I thought about a lot of things like societal norms and blah, blah, blah all the time as a teen, especially in 20s. So I remember being like, I am so annoyed that everyone hates getting older and everyone's like, oh, turning 20 or turning 30 is horrible and aging is horrible and blah, blah. It just really annoyed me. It was another thing that I was like, this is not going to be placed upon me that I just have to agree with that. I was just mad, basically, that I was supposed to live in a world where I was supposed to hate getting older. So I thought about it and I thought, I think I'm going to peak at like 40, 50. I feel like I'm totally
I could see that.
made to be.
I think you've always been
40s
40.
and 50s. I know. I do feel like that. If we're talking about what age have we always been, I've always
Your kids
been.
are about to go to college. You're like paying the bills.
I've always been keeping an eye on everything,
Running a
being
book
responsible,
club.
running everything. I've always been basically 40s.
Same.
Anyway,
that's a mom to teenagers.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
so
I
you.
did feel
That's
like
true.
a mom to teens.
I feel like.
So I felt like
Sorry.
So I felt like 40s and 50s was going to be like my prime, and then I'll just like
Slowly
kind of
decline.
coast from there. No, just coast. I'll just coast from
On a
there.
skateboard.
Yeah.
I haven't thought too much. Well, I feel like 60s and 70s and 80s,
Never
whatever,
gonna
is
happen.
more of a time for like, I don't know. It seems like a fun and friendship
Yes,
and
you get to
family
like-
time.
like a cool
Travel,
time.
you don't have like
It
all these
sounds like a fun time
responsibilities.
to
like,
me.
just
You get to hang out with your
chill.
grandkids.
But anyway,
hopefully.
Play some golf. No,
My
okay,
point
no,
is,
play
that's
golf.
when I decided 30s is not going to be a bad thing that is like
No.
to be like hated. I
Thriving.
refuse to do that. Why am I going to hate myself once I turn 30 and pretend I'm 29 forever? That's stupid.
Yeah.
And then I also started to think that 20s were dumb. The more I got into it, I was like, I don't like the 20s. It kind of sucks.
Retweet.
I feel like it was magical and then also like horrible because it was so stressful.
and magical.
Yeah.
It was so freaking stressful being in the real world and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do I want to pretend I'm like in my 20s all the time? I don't even like this. And I feel like it's a really insecure time. And you get a lot of more confidence once you get to the late, especially into your 30s. And a lot of women say that once they get into their 30s and like mid 30s, they have a lot of confidence as a woman. So I just feel like it was an insecure time. It was a stressful time, even though it was fun and magical. I just think that things really get better from there. And it's not just like, oh, you have this death sentence. When you get, that's just really depressing. Once you get married and have kids, then you have a death sentence and your life is just boring, because I've found my life is so much more fun now that I have a child. I'm married and have a child, and I'm not in the 20s magical time anymore. And I think this is kind of like more magical. So it's not that thing that people keep talking about that I think, where it's like, oh, gotta do all this stuff now in your 20s because soon you'll be in the dreaded time. No, I don't think that's real at all. At least not for me. I think maybe if you think that's real, it's more real.
Yeah.
But anyway, what do you guys think? I thought about this a lot in my early 20s, so that's had to get it all out.
Well, I don't know. I feel like
I mean, you are in the early 20s.
in my 20s, like I don't really relate to your thing of like, ooh, freedom. Yeah. I'm more like, I feel like I grew up so fast.
Too much responsibility.
Like I moved out, taking care of everything. Like I was kind of like the head of my house at
From
like
a young
19.
age.
Yeah.
So it's like
I
I'm
helped
kind of
though.
like,
Okay.
yeah, but I was like took on this
Decision
responsibility
maker.
though, and like I
Yeah.
like took care of things more. Like you helped with stuff too, but it wasn't like on you.
True.
It was I like
You
took it
found
upon
the house and did
myself,
all, yeah.
and I feel like I kind of like way too young to be feeling this old. Like I'm like like so much. I just feel like the weight of the world came so fast.
yes.
I'm like wait, and it's not like I feel like my teens were better. Like I'm a lot more like emotionally stable and like happier in life now. But I'm just like, oh, there's just a lot of like responsibility and like weight that I wasn't expecting
You're
to
in the
feel so
thick.
soon. It's like I'm only 23. Why I feel like I'm like have the weight of the world
50.
like I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
So
mean,
And that is a part of 20s anyway, but yours is even, it's kind of more intense. But that is how I felt at like probably 25, 26. Like so much weight. I'm like,
like,
this is horrible.
I wanted all the freedom and independence, but then it's like it comes with a lot of
So
like
stressful.
weight of
It
responsibility of like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't want to think about all this stuff. I just want to live free like Lisa.
literally, I never wanted.
You've done some last minute trips. It's all about
Yeah.
the trips.
I'm
my God.
not
Trips.
saying I haven't like had fun and done all like the 20s stuff, whatever, but it's just like I didn't expect it to be so like heavy, I guess.
Yeah.
But then also there's like the pandemic and everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that
just-
kind of put a
yeah.
damper on it.
affected
That's
a
like
lot.
your early
No concerts.
20s.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's a good
Maybe
point.
your later 20s will be more fun free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I would sum it up basically what Lauren said is how I felt like. Well, actually, no. I would add to that. I think I idealize things a lot in the future. So I always think the next decade is going to be like way better. And like the teens were really hard for me. So I was like, oh, the 20s are going to be like kind of like Lisa, like freedom and fun and adventure. And I definitely think they were. Like I traveled a lot. I went to so
You
Oh,
many
lived it
concerts.
up.
You
really lived it up. Woman about
I
town.
overly lived it up. I was like gone every single night. Like
Too much.
I was
Party
like, I like
every day.
burnt myself out because I was like,
You were exhausted all the
I was
time.
in so many different like social groups and
I
like
can't stop making plans.
she
was like a serious problem.
I had
can't
plans like
stop.
every single night for like
I have to limit
6
myself to
years
like
straight.
3 times a week, but
like
I
I
can't.
remember my friend who was an introvert. I was Callan. I was like, how do you like chill? Like what do you do? And he's like, I have a rule like not to make plans every other night. And I was like, what? Every other night you stay in?
Even
I
that's
can't
a
do
lot.
that. Yeah, so I really like lived it up in my 20s, but that was also like the peak, like my early to mid 20s was the absolute peak of insane anxiety, perfectionism, insecurity. Like I was so mentally
So true.
unhealthy, and I was in therapy the whole time, but I just was so busy that I wasn't feeling anything. So I think it was kind of like what Lauren said that I connected to was like, I thought it was going to be this like really fun thing, which it was, but it was also like extremely stressful. And I
So
felt like
heavy.
the weight of the world on my shoulders. Even though I like new things, I like challenges, and I like figuring things out. Like I just like Google it. Like, how do I do this new thing? Oh, I've never paid a bill. What do I do? I'll just look it up. Like, I'll figure it out. I have a very like
I don't like
I know
that.
that attitude.
I hate it.
I hate
Like
that.
they're always like, can you call the person? I'm like, I will call them. I don't care.
I hate
Because
that.
I just don't care about doing. I don't know what that is. Like a person that just tries new
You
things.
just like to jump in. It's not scary.
Yeah,
to
it
you.
doesn't.
I don't
It
know.
doesn't bother me because I'm like, so if I look dumb, I don't care. I'm just trying to clean my bathtub for you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really stress me out.
I'm just trying to clean my
In the
bathtub.
30s, I've always like felt like that would be my peak time. So I'm excited. I'm turning 30 soon. And I'm excited for that.
I feel like this, I've just put all this together recently, but because I didn't ever picture a future on my own, I always thought that it was always dependent on like a man taking care of me, like getting married, having kids. There was no 20s in my brain. Like you grow up, your early 20s, you get married, you have a family, like you start then. I don't even know why, because no one ever told me that. Mom
Yeah,
and
because
dad,
mom always said the
they
opposite.
said don't date till you're 25.
And she always said, make sure. She said, my mom said this so many times. Make sure that you have like either a college degree or some kind of career path, because you can't just depend on a man. Something could happen even if you're married. Our mom like drilled
But
into
I
our
always
heads.
thought that, and dad did too. They'd be like, they could just go. So I go, okay.
Yeah, so they were like, don't date or get married for a really long time, and make sure that you are ready to be the breadwinner.
Somehow
Essentially,
I got the opposite messaging. I don't know how.
That is interesting.
I was
Disney
like,
movies.
I don't know. So then, like, I got into my 20s, and it was horrifying because I had no man and family to speak of, so I had no future because that was my future.
Oh, wow.
And then
Oh,
I
my
just
gosh.
put this all together recently. So every year I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm this age. I have no future yet. I'm this age. I have no future. And then, and because I never pictured this time. So it's like, I'm just getting into and I had a lot of like growing to do that I didn't do in my teens. Just a lot of
Not wearing t-shirts all the time.
I didn't really get a teenage year. My teenage
that
life.
was your defining moment when you found your
Yeah.
own style and you're like, I
Yeah.
am my own
Yes.
That
person.
took me a long time.
My teenage life was kind of like my own pandemic because I couldn't go anywhere. I had no friends. I had no car. I had nothing.
You know,
So-
I think your teen self would be really proud of
She
you.
would be.
Yeah.
She would
She would be like,
stand.
look at that woman.
She would stand. And so like I'm to that point that I think I'm being like Lisa, trying to have
Live
some
it
fun
up.
and live
Yeah.
it up.
Live it
And then
up.
I'm like, you know what? When I turn 30, I don't care if I have married or not. I'll start my own family.
Good.
I don't care.
Queen.
Like it
Yes.
doesn't matter to me. Like I don't know. I'm just like that's what I
love
kind
it.
of learned.
Independent.
So I'm like I'm in that phase, I think.